I said it multiple times. The trial of Dave Filoni starts when Ahsoka's show begins. Now there's 2 episodes left. Where do you stand with Dave Filoni right now, today? Is he the hero of Star Wars? Well, Forbes certainly thinks so. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Echo Base Network. So glad to have you here. We're looking at Dave Filoni, and I am totally transparent with you. I don't know exactly where I'm at yet with Filoni. I have to wait and see how Ahsoka ends. But I'll tell you this, and I'll tell you this out of fear of, people leaving as soon as you hear me say this. You're just going to click off the video like, I'm out already. Well, before you do that, just take into account, consider different fans and what they think and how they feel about Dave Filoni. The show right now is very mid. It's an average show, and for a lot of people, it's below average. But then again, a lot of people are totally buying it, and the people who are buying it are probably, more than likely, generally speaking, big Dave Filoni fans. And a lot of those fans are going to be your younger generation of fans, which is going to be maybe Gen Z, but definitely millennials. Millennials, for the most part, are going to be way more prone to just enjoy anything that Filoni gives. Prequel era vibes, Star Wars Rebels vibes. People say, oh, Coach, Ahsoka has nothing to do with the prequels. Did you see the Clone Wars flashbacks? Did you see Anakin? I saw the Filoni fans and the prequel trilogy fans and the people who grew up with those, the millennials, they ate it up. They consumed it, and that's perfectly fine. Consume what you will. But Forbes comes out with this article right here. Dave Filoni is the hero Disney's Star Wars fans badly needs. Now, we're going to look at this. We're going to weigh the evidence, and we're going to see whether or not we agree, because I got to be honest with you. Maybe he's right. Maybe Forbes is right. We're going to look and see, but before we get into the article, got to lay the groundwork. There are basically 4 reasons why fans have been critical of Dave Filoni, and here they are. The first reason that fans have been critical of Dave Filoni is due to creative differences. Filoni has been heavily involved in Star Wars animated series, such as the Clone Wars and Rebels. Some fans who prefer the live-action films may have different expectations or preferences when it comes to storytelling and visual presentation. Another reason that fans don't like Dave Filoni are canon conflicts. As the overseer of the Star Wars animated series, Filoni has contributed to expanding the Star Wars canon. This can sometimes result in conflicts or contradictions with the existing lore, which some fans may find frustrating or confusing. A third reason fans do not like Dave Filoni: character choices. Certain character decisions made in the animated series, such as the portrayal of Ahsoka Tano or the introduction of new characters like Ezra Bridger, have been divisive among fans. Different interpretations and opinions can lead to disagreements. And the fourth and final reason that fans, generally speaking, do not like Dave Filoni: nostalgia and attachment. Some fans who grew up with the original trilogy may have a deep emotional attachment to those films, and any changes or additions to the franchise may be met with resistance or skepticism. Filoni's involvement in expanding the Star Wars universe may be seen as a departure from the original vision for some fans. And that fourth one is certainly kind of where I fall in line. But anyways, so now we want to head over and read exactly what Paul Tassi at Forbes just said a few hours ago. Title: Dave Filoni is the hero Disney's Star Wars badly needs. And it's not a very long article, so let's get through it. Fine. Just give Star Wars to Dave Filoni already, writes Paul Tassi. If there is a persistent problem with Disney Star Wars as of late, I would argue you could sum it up with one word. He says, focus. You may be tiring of the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point, but at least it's a somewhat coherent timeline that moves in one direction, featuring a cast of recurring characters that come and go and are always moving forward. That is not true with Star Wars, where Disney seems like it has no idea what it wants to focus on at all. So they are shotgun spreading everything at the wall to see what sticks But this has led to the Obi-Wan timeline soon after Episode 3 and before Episode 4, the Solo Lando timeline 10 years before Episode 4, the Andor Rogue One timeline right before Episode 4, the Mandalorian Ahsoka Boba Fett timeline after Episode 6 and well before the sequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy decades after Episodes 4 and 6, or 4 through 6 rather, the post-sequel movie, supposedly a Rey feature set another 20 years past the sequels, and finally The Acolyte. This is the High Republic era Disney is trying to do, mainly with books set hundreds of years ago, but well after Knights of the Old Republic. So far I gotta say, Paul Tassi is spot on. Disney Star Wars has been all over the place trying to find out what sticks. It's like they're throwing multiple lines of, going fishing. They're throwing multiple lines in the water just waiting for a bite on any of their fishing poles. So far, none of them are biting. So Tassi says what's become clear as time has gone on is that the only person with any clear, coherent vision of Star Wars going forward is Dave Filoni. He certainly has practice, as his brainchildren are Clone Wars, which salvaged the prequels, and Rebels, a great pre-Episode 4 production carrying on that legacy. Well, no matter how I personally feel about Filoni and me being skeptical of what he's going to do, I have to admit, the writer is correct here. Dave Filoni did make, the prequel trilogy better for me with the Clone Wars. Rebels was a good show, so he has definitely done some good things, at least in animation. And Tassi says Disney has been wise to continue letting Filoni expand on that. He and Jon Favreau brought The Mandalorian to life, and now he's integrated his Rebels-era storylines there. Ahsoka is a combination of his Clone Wars characters, Rebels characters, and some brand new ones. Now he's supposedly heading for a big crossover movie. So we're probably going to have some disagreements right here. He continues, if anyone has the ability to A, create and use compelling characters, B, write engaging and mysterious storylines, and C, have large-scale, cohesive plans for the Star Wars universe, it's Filoni, who had been doing all of the above for well over a decade in animation and now has shown he could do this in a live-action series as well. So I'm going to have to push back there and say I kind of disagree with that. What compelling characters has he created in live action? I would argue that he's had the reverse effect. He's actually hurt the character of Sabine Wren in Ahsoka, but that's my take. And his second point was that Dave Filoni can write engaging and mysterious storylines. Well, for me, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at in Episode 5. So many questions. I understand the lesson, as many of you do too as well. Ahsoka needed to let go of her resentment or her bad feelings or her sorrow in order to move forward, choose life, be a better Ahsoka, fight, and all that stuff. But the storytelling there, it hasn't been engaging because they didn't set that up really, and it's not really a mystery. Having many questions about what am I looking at? Is that really Anakin? Are they in the world between worlds? How did she get there? So many questions evolving around, that episode. Those kind of questions doesn't mean it's mysterious. So I gotta say, Filoni gets a negative mark here. Tassi says, yes, I still believe Andor and Rogue One are overall the best things that Disney era of Star Wars has produced, but I think there are limits to that format to get back into mystical Star Wars and create a grand, large-scale universe again. I think you need Filoni. And he says, right now, Star Wars is spread thin and lacks any sort of coherent direction outside of what Filoni has created here. I say, give him the keys to all of it. It can't be worse than what we've seen so far. So I agree with his ultimate point there. It's not going to be worse than what we've gotten since Disney took over, especially when you consider episodes 7, 8, and 9. That was a jumbled up mess. And I do believe that Rogue One is the best cinematic film that we've gotten from Disney Star Wars. I wouldn't say that Andor is the best live action show. I'm going to give the nod to Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2, and Andor for me then would come after that. But they're not on the same level to me. I know a lot of you are going to disagree with that and say Andor was the best. Totally get that. That's fine. But it wasn't for me. So what kind of hope do you have in Dave Filoni right now? As we sit here today, there are only 2 episodes left remaining in the Ahsoka show. Do you think he's going to pull this off? Is he going to make this show overall, on the whole, good or successful? You know, the TV ratings have come out, and it is apparent there is less and less interest in Star Wars with every new show that comes out. There are fewer viewers, and fewer viewers. And if this continues, the brand will be basically obsolete. I will say this, again, as I am skeptical of Dave Filoni and what he can do. I wouldn't be skeptical right now if I was loving the Ahsoka show. If I was like, yes, this show is so good. It's an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, or even a 10 out of 10. If I felt that way, I'd be feeling much better about it. But I do agree with, if you're going to give him the keys to the kingdom, give him all of the keys to the kingdom. Let him run it. Let him make the decisions. You know, I think that there's too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to Star Wars and Kathy Kennedy. She's hired way too many people, way too many showrunners, way too many people getting fired, in and out, revolving doors at Lucasfilm. Give him the keys, let him make the decisions, let him make the creative decisions and take us where we're going to go. Is it going to be George Lucas Star Wars? No, those days are over. But it could certainly be better than what we've gotten since 2015. No doubt about that. I want to know what you think. Our audience is very mixed here at EBN. We got people who love Filoni. We got people who hate Filoni. We got people all over the place. We are truly like on neutral ground here, but I want to know what you think and make sure that you tell us why. Why do you think that? And for me, 2 more episodes, and then I will be able to give my true, complete thoughts on Dave Filoni as a showrunner in the live action world. I got thoughts right now, but I'm going to give him 2 more episodes before I really weigh in on the entire thing and let those choices be my solid, forever choices. Thank you for being here. We are Echo Base Network. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.